That's that athleticism we've been talking about, Bob.
These are chants coming from the Atlanta Hawks State Farm Arena with Jonathan Kuminga standing at the free throw line. After some uncertainty in trading for Kuminga, the Hawks are currently 3-0 in the Jonathan Kuminga era, a stark contrast to the Warriors who have gone 3-5 since trading him. Not only that, their entire fan base is in absolute shock of the steal that they have in the young 23-year-old.
And obviously playing with JK, your first time, just what was it like for you and how are you going to be able to adjust to playing with him?
It's cool. It's going to be exciting. I feel like we're going to play off each other really well. He creates a lot of pressure downhill and, he's able to pass out of it. So I think for both of us, if we continue to do that and continue to build that chemistry, we'll be all right.
On the other hand, following their loss to the Los Angeles Lakers, things are looking pretty gloomy for the Golden State Warriors. Steve Kerr's continued refusal to place Green on the bench has led to multiple slow starts with the team having to fight uphill from the tip. But this is a rather simple problem made complicated by optics. If the Warriors simply brought Green off the bench, or better yet, removed him from the rotation entirely, their group of young guys would without a doubt be more competitive. But the self-mandate by Steve Kerr to not even consider bringing Green off the bench has put him in an impossible situation. Things got kinda weird when, after the loss where Draymond finished with a -30, Steve Kerr had this to say. Draymond's competitive desire, his brain is what's so important to us. He's a genius defensively and his competitiveness is off the charts. And that's why we've won championships and had the runs that we had. Not easy for him right now, playing without Jimmy, without Steph, but I'm really impressed with just the way he's hanging in there and continuing to fight. Without Jimmy. Interesting. This is a huge compliment to Draymond Green despite weighing the team down with a -30 in a 30-point blowout loss. Treating Draymond as a make-a-wish kid is why things have been confusing for a majority of Warrior fans. This is not winning basketball. For Steve Kerr, it was very simple when he thought Jonathan Kuminga was the problem. He simply let the young player rot on the bench because he didn't envision a team where JK was contributing to the team winning. Steve's agenda doesn't allow for Jonathan Kuminga to be a major contributor in that role, and if you've been watching this channel, you know I've been saying this for over a year. Steve Kerr wants to win his way only. So the agenda has officially crashed, meaning you will not be able to play meaningful games, much less win at a high level with Draymond Green being a major component. The simple solution to winning would be to do this. That is, to sit Green and hand him those DNPs like he did with Jonathan Kuminga and at times Guy Santos. This opens an entire can of worms, which we'll get into as we analyze what JK has been doing for the Hawks and how it completely collapses Steve Kerr's flawed approach to coaching. This, my friends, is why the Atlanta Hawks have found their second star to help lead them to the playoffs this season. Check ball. Jonathan Kuminga has been a breath of fresh air for the Atlanta Hawks.
The force, the power, the athleticism. Oh, Atlanta, we got something special.
How you give up on a guy that young with that ability is beyond me.
In his last 3 games, JK has averaged 21 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, almost 2 steals, 68% from the field, 56% from 3, over 7 free throws attempted per game, 77% free throw shooting percentage, and a +20 in just 26.5 minutes per game. This 3-game outburst for JK is equivalent to a top 15 player in the league. This creates a very, very bad look for the Golden State Warriors, who have yet to see Porzingis in more than 17 minutes in the 8 games they've played since the trade. Now, what I'm about to say might sound familiar to some of you, but I'll also add in some context that you might not have been aware of beforehand. There are still a lot of people on the fence stating that the Hawks have only played bad teams. They played the Wizards twice, and now the Trailblazers. To make matters worse, the Blazers were missing Denny Avdia, Shaedon Sharpe, Chris Murray, and Rob Williams. Now let me explain to you why none of this matters. Before they acquired Kuminga, the Hawks were 12-14 against teams that had a 500 or below record. Following the trade, they are now 15-14 against such teams. That's the first data point. Secondly, not only are they winning these games, they are doing so by a margin of +28 points. Before Kuminga, they were a -1.8 against these same teams. This is with Jalen Johnson missing and Nickeil Alexander-Walker being out with injury for a couple of games. But let's not stop there. The Portland Trailblazers, who have the same record as the Hawks did when they acquired Kuminga, are coming off a game where they easily disposed of the Chicago Bulls 121-112. That same lineup that they used to dispose of the Bulls is the lineup they used against the Atlanta Hawks when they were absolutely demolished. And here's the last point I'll make. The Washington Wizards were unable to score 100 points in either game against the Hawks, but were able to put up 125 against the playoff-bound Raptors. Following that, the Hawks continued to lock in defensively and held the Blazers to just 101 points, a game that had almost 5 minutes of garbage time due to how badly they were getting blown out and they could barely find enough buckets to get to 100. Meanwhile, the Hawks had 135. Both teams were held well below their 110 and 114 offensive ratings. There's something happening in Atlanta, and without even getting to full strength, could be the most dangerous team in the Eastern Conference outside of the Detroit Pistons. That Jonathan Kuminga impact is real, and the Warriors franchise are looking more suspect by the minute, especially when you consider this fact. It's become a more well-known fact that there have been talented young players on the Warriors roster that have just never had the opportunity. At the moment, we're seeing Guy Santos having a breakout, Ryan Rollins has been having a breakout with the Bucks, and now Jonathan Kuminga doing the things we knew he was capable of doing while winning with the Hawks. The problem is, and has always been, opportunity. Who's responsible for giving these players the opportunity? The answer to that is very simple. Steve Kerr.
Because when I got here, I was a point guard. Playing back in Brazil was like playing as a point guard, having the ball in my hand.
In prior videos, I've always said Guy Santos was a two-guard. Here he is in this video saying, back home, he was the point guard. If you've watched his videos, then you'd know how well he handles the ball. So ask yourself this question. Why did Steve Kerr not play both JK and Santos heavy rotation minutes alongside each other? Why would Steve Kerr force minutes with Pajemski when he already has a player who has more size, IQ, and hustle, who had also been with the team long before? I'll explain to you exactly why that is. Steve could have easily had Wiggins play the two-guard while having either Santos or Kuminga playing the 3 and 4 interchangeably. He did not do this for one simple reason. That reason is the same reason why the Warriors are having trouble winning games to this day. That reason is Draymond Green. If that lineup I mentioned had a Steph Curry and an Al Horford at the anchor, we would quickly find out how much better this team is without Draymond Green. This would have crushed the agenda. This would have made it obvious that playing Green was a part of the formula that led to losing. Steve Kerr needed pieces he could fit around Draymond Green in order to win, and with increasingly tied up salaries, it became more difficult. They had to salary dump Jordan Poole. They had to trade Wiggins because he didn't raise the Warriors' ceiling enough to win a championship despite doing so in 2022. A lot of his issues between then and his trade was due to his father getting sick and eventually passing, but that didn't matter. They wanted to trade him and in return get the higher ceiling of Kevin Durant. Instead, they got Jimmy, who again overlaps too much with Draymond Green, eventually bringing more problems as we saw in the beginning of the season. Draymond did not want to give up the ball to Jimmy to close, which led to the team losing a lot of games and causing friction. With so many players potentially pushing Green out of the rotation, they needed to do something. Jonathan Kuminga, who was set to earn the most amount of money, became the scapegoat. So what did they do? They salary dumped Jonathan Kuminga. Despite the fact that Kristaps Porzingis had an illness that no one knows enough of anything about, making it impossible to fix, Mike Dunleavy Jr. greenlit a trade to send away a player that Steve Kerr wouldn't put on the floor for a player that Steve Kerr can't put on the floor, and then had the audacity to equate the two. Despite all the decisions they've made to build a winning roster around Curry, they are still struggling to win without him. Despite this idea that Curry plays better with Draymond Green next to him, it has become clear as day that the offense flows much better without Green's presence. So much better, in fact, that the team can beat title contenders in the Denver Nuggets without him, but lose to lottery teams such as the Pelicans when Green is on the court. A healthy Porzingis and Draymond Green out of the lineup could cure this team's worst ailments, but whether or not the Warriors are willing to do it for Curry and for the franchise, I'll take my chances that they'll figure out KP's mystery illness and break the news to the NBA community. Having traded away Kuminga, however, it might be too late anyway. All that being said, JK's wings are spreading in Atlanta, and the future looks bright for the two-man tandem of JJK. The only questions left to ask is, how far will that team get in the playoffs as a function of the amount of chemistry built? And if you find yourself still pointing to the strength of schedule and saying the teams that they are facing are weak, it's no different than when Jimmy arrived in Golden State and they finished strongly against sub-500 teams. So let me know your thoughts on the Hawks' recent run. They've won the same number of games as the Warriors have, except they did it without the 5 losses. What changes do you think the Warriors should make for their best chance to make the playoffs, if they have a chance? Post your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Till next time, swish.